Mr. Secretary, let me first say that I'm one person who's followed you, and I think you're doing a fine job. And I think your agency is doing a fine job. And I think there have been a lot of political cheap shots at you, unfortunately, and the administration from the other side of the aisle. And I just don't think that's reflective of the job that you're doing. So I wanted just to say that. I want to also spend the next minute talking to you about an issue that you and I have spoken about in the past, and that's open fuel standard for cars. I believe, and I'm doing a bill with Mr. Shimkus, that every car produced in America should be a flex fuel car. I believe if a car can run on ethanol, methanol, gasoline, natural gas, whatever, competition helps bring down prices, and it would bring down prices. I've seen that happen in Brazil, and I think it could happen here. And I would hope, and it would cost $100 or less per car to manufacture a car with flex fuel features. So I would hope that, I know the President has issued an executive order to have the federal fleet be flex fuel cars, and I would hope we can continue to move in that direction. So I would just like you to briefly comment on that, if you could.
Certainly, the ability to have own a flex fuel vehicle, especially if the cost of the new car would be something, as you indicated, $100 or less, gives the American consumer more options. It makes them more in control of what they can do in terms of, just in case the world oil price does increase. As we said, we're very concerned about the price of gasoline, and one of the options that we can have to bring relief to the American public is to allow them to have a diverse sources of energy for transportation, and a flex fuel vehicle allows that. Natural gas, also very enthusiastic about. And so the ability to have this conversion, you can fill it up with natural gas, fill it up with higher blends of ethanol, is something that will help American businesses and consumers, families.
Thank you very much. I couldn't agree more. Let me ask you about renewable energy investment. A survey of global climate policies by Deutsche Bank concluded that clean tech innovations are more likely to emerge and succeed in Brazil, China, India, Germany, and the UK than they are in the U.S. These countries have used a combination of investments and national energy standards, feed-in tariffs, standards, and a price on carbon. According to Ernst & Young, China now leads the world as both the largest source of and destination for clean energy investment. China attracted $54 billion clean energy financing in 2010, which is a 39% increase over 2009, and such financing in the U.S. stagnated last year at $34 billion, approximately equal to 2007 levels. Your budget proposes to invest in energy efficiency, renewable energy technology, science, and clean energy research, development, and deployment, and it eliminates $40 billion over 10 years in tax subsidies to big oil, with which I agree. Big oil is making record profits, and they don't need the tax subsidies. However, some people have argued that if you eliminate subsidies for big oil, it means the government is wrongly in the business of picking winners or losers. They say, I don't agree, but they say that if we remove the subsidies for big oil, then out of fairness, we should remove subsidies from every other specific industry or business, green technologies or whatever. How do you respond to this?
Well, I think the government over the past decades, really over the past century, has always looked at subsidies and tried to, and it's a part of the Congress and the President's to try to decide what would be appropriate subsidies, but also how long. The subsidies have been used in the past to encourage new industries to get started. And so the oil subsidies began roughly 100 years ago, and for the express intent of actually helping this industry get started. But as you pointed out, they are making doing very well on their own.
Yeah, they did make $137 billion last year.
Right.
I mean, God bless them, but I don't think they need any help from the government anymore. Let me ask you this. About two-thirds of the Department of Energy's budget is directed at nuclear weapons or nuclear cleanup activities, and there are some who argue that those activities would be better handled by the Department of Defense, by DOD. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respectfully don't agree with that. I think the nuclear weapons and the nuclear cleanup is needs a very science-based approach to this, that we have developed since the Manhattan Project, a lot of expertise. I think that we should continue to have it within the NNSA and also within the Department of Energy, the Environmental Management.
Again, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. And again, thank you for the good job.
Right now.